Hi, welcome to Kairos.
I'm David Banks.
And I'm Sonia Banks. And today we want to talk a little bit about leaving and cleaving. Ephesians 5:31 and 32 says, "And a man shall leave his father and mother and cleave to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh." So we want to talk about a little bit about what that leaving and cleaving process is and what the two becoming one flesh looks like. So when we talk about leaving and cleaving, basically we're just talking about how do you leave and cleave? What does that look like? And there's three areas. Your spouse should have more influence. You should leave financially as well, so that you're dependent more upon your spouse, their influence, and their finances. And emotionally, you want to be able to really connect with your spouse. And if you're still prioritizing your family emotionally and you go, maybe, if you had a bad moment in your marriage and then you want to run home to your parents and kind of cry on their shoulder, that's supposed to happen with your spouse. You're supposed to basically, be able to hash out any kind of difficulties and get in agreement with them first. Does that mean that you don't talk to your parents or your family or sisters and brothers about those things? No, it doesn't. It just means that your spouse has, now that you're married, your spouse has that higher priority, and they have the more influence.
Yeah, we understand that, you raised from your mother and father, maybe a single parent, and the relationship that you all build together is amazing. And the day will come where someone else will come and take your hearts. And that's the hard part of releasing and letting go of all the things that your parents showed you and loved on you. And like she said, the finances and spiritually and all the other things that they covered you, you have to release it and let it go to cleave now to the spouse that you are married to. So we understand it is a difficult thing, but it's a God thing. It's a blessed thing, because first and foremost, to understand why God has set that in order is that when the Bible says that the wife respect and honor her husband as unto Christ, that she will now have me to be the covering over her because of the Christ that's in me. Because Christ is over me and he's in me, she submits unto me, which helps her now to cleave to me. It's the blessed concept from God to understand how covering happens. So it's not that we disrespect our parents, but we understand now where our parents now are prioritized in our relationship. My wife is the first person in my life. It's not my mother. It's not my father. It's not even my children. It's my wife. And I am to her.
Yeah. So the relationship it takes priority, and that's just the way God made it. And it works. If it's done correctly, it's the law of priority, and prioritizing your wife whenever, or your husband, whenever we break that law of priority, things just don't work. They and it can be with family members, it can be with a job, right. It can be with basketball, it can be with golfing. There's certain things that you can do to make your spouse feel like they have to take a second seat to something else that's more important to you.
And the blessed thing is understanding the priority, the law of priority. As far as the fellas is concerned, we work. We work. We take care of our family. That's our main objective. But what happened is that sometimes we make work our priority and our family get left behind. But when you make your family the first priority, this is what it looks like. When you have to go do overtime on holidays, or you have to do overtime during the week, but you made your kids and your wife a priority, and you say, "Hey, Daddy got to go to work. How do y'all feel about that? What do you think?" I guarantee you they'll say go. Why? Because they know that they are a priority in their life. But when they're not, that's when the issues come in. When they say, "Daddy, why don't you stay home?" The wife said, "Baby, I haven't seen you all day. I haven't seen you all week." They're letting you know that something is missing, and that would be the priority in their lives, that you need to be a priority in their life.
And the way that I think wives can make their husbands feel like they're not in priority, we tend to go more towards our relationship with our children. So we will, give all of the babies and the teenagers and the preteens, we give them everything that we have, all of our time, all of our money, all of our energy. And then when our husbands come home, the tank is empty. There's nothing left. And so that they're, kind of sitting saying, hey, you have to save a little bit for me. And do understand, we know that, as a child, that children or babies tend to be a lot more, high maintenance, and they need more.
Yeah. But
we have to understand that, and most people, might have a challenge with this, but our children are a temporary assignment. They're a temporary assignment, and what we're doing is we are raising husbands, we are raising wives, we are raising fathers, and we're raising mothers so that they can go out and they can function and be successful adults. But at the end of the day, if we give our children all of who we are, then when they leave to go do their assignments or what God has called them to do, then we're left with no relationship, nothing, because we did not feed into our own marriage.
Once I got some understanding about, out of our love, we had 4 beautiful children. Out of our love. When I asked her to marry me, I had no idea I was going to have any children. But I had an idea that this lady here, was going to be with me for the rest of my life. But when I had 4 kids, I understood that it was my job to raise them up, not to stay, but to leave. But when they leave, she's here to stay. And so I understand that she's my priority for the rest of my life. Then comes my children. Then comes everything else behind that. And if you keep those laws, that would help your marriage out tremendously. I'm just saying.
And then one of the things too that I know when we used to go on date nights, we first started really being faithful with our date nights. Our children would be like, "Oh, you guys are going out again." And we used to make it clear, hey, listen, if this is not working, then that puts your whole situation in jeopardy. So we have to be okay to make it more stable for them. So we have to have that foundation that's so stable for them, so that when they come home from school, we're not fussing and fighting and talking a divorce, or we can't get along, or we all of this other stuff. When we're okay, it makes it more secure for them as children. And then it's a great witness for them and what to expect when they get married, so that they know, okay, hey, this is what my mom and dad, we modeled it for them. This is what they did. So this is what I need to do, to make sure that my marriage is a priority, so that my children grow up in a stable environment. That's good. So let's review what we just learned real quick. So leaving and cleaving. So we have to understand that, yes, we have to leave our mother and father, what they're covering, their finances, the spirituality of it all. Whatever else that they're covering us, we're going to leave that and cleave to each other. We also understand that family feels this way, that blood is thicker than water. But you got to understand, when God said what he put together, let no man put us under. And so how can 2 walk together unless they agree? It's only through the Spirit of God that we are connected, that we will become one. And so that's what we're working on, and understanding that she's my priority, I'm a priority to her also. And so in that agreement, we are walking together. And so it's blessed. It's a blessed union when God's hand is over it. But when his hand is not with it, and we're not following the order of God, our steps are going to look chaotic. But when the steps of a good man and a good woman is ordered by God, we are blessed. Amen? Amen. And so with that note, we thank you for listening. This has been a Kairos Couples Moment.